Good evening, everyone. Neil Douglas, and this is American Truth Finders. I'm going to wait until I get a few people on before we really get started on tonight's show. We have a very important topic, a topic that is breaking news all over right now. Even Lou Dobbs, I think, is breaking this news with an interview with Sidney Powell, one of the head attorneys for the Trump campaign, President Trump's attorney group. And I want you to know, I see someone is online. I appreciate that. So I am being seen on Facebook. I believe that that's a good sign. I'll be going back and forth from StreamYard to Facebook. I hope my microphone is working okay, because earlier it was giving me sort of a funny sound, and I hope it doesn't affect anybody. But tonight, the breaking news is so important. There we go. Neil, and how are you? I'm glad you could make it all the way from the Philippines. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it, especially with things as tough as that's going on in the Philippines, in different areas, even from islands to Manila with all the typhoons. I saw something on the news today about that, and that's very heartbreaking. And I hope that not many people lose their lives or their homes or whatever. So we'll pray for the Philippines and people in the Philippines. I got another viewer. Hope you say hi to me. Tonight, as I said, we've got some very, very important news that could do things. It's very possible it could turn the election around. It could give Trump the election. It could possibly cause conflict in this country if it does, because if this happens because of fraud that is being reported by the Trump attorneys. And they say they have the proof. They're not going to tell you all the proof. They're not going to tell you what all the evidence is. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is serious. Now, I'm going to be doing some reading, so you're going to have to bear with me. But I want you to understand this. As I said earlier, Doris Roberts, hi, how are you? I'm glad you could make it. Thank you. The main thing about this fraud or even rigged election is because it's tied to Venezuela. Now, I'm going to get into that. So I want your comments. I'm going to be going back and forth to Facebook to make sure that people are not messaging me there, that I can't see them. It's not telling me, so I don't know exactly whether or not Janet Blazin comment on my video. Okay, well, let's see. Let's go back to StreamYard. And Janet, I appreciate you commenting on that. Anyway, on Maria Bartiromo's show this morning on Fox News channel. Now, I had stopped watching Fox News channel, but other than just certain people that are still questioning the election and what the future of our country is. Anyways, Sidney Powell, who has been investigating the software, said that she has enough evidence to launch a massive criminal investigation. Now, you have to understand, the Electoral College will be voting on December 4th, I think it is. They cannot do any report until everything is certified, number one. And number two, if there is a criminal investigation that's going to go on, and this is serious, people, I'm telling you, it's very serious. If Lou Dobbs is now even doing an interview about it, something's going on. Because, and I'm surprised even Fox is doing it, but Maria Bartiromo said that, look, she wanted to bring this out. Now, here's what's going on. According to Powell, the witnesses that the Trump team has is someone who has seen elections rigged in other countries to start with. These are tactics and software were allegedly deployed in the United States. Now, stay with me. I want you to share this video. Please stay with me. I know people will come and go. They always do, because it's not something they want to hear about or they're not interested in. But this is serious business, people. This is very serious business. something that sounds, she goes on to say something that sounds fishy to me, is the former Admiral Peter Nettinger is the chairman and the board of directors of Startmatic. Startmatic is the software company, and he is also on Joe Biden's transition team. Now, what does that say? Share this starting right now, people, so other people can hear what's going on and know what's really happening in this election that we just had on November 3rd. Yeah. I'm going to repeat that. Former Admiral Peter Nettinger is the chairman of the board of directors for Startmatic, which is the software company that was used with Dominion, and he's also on Biden's transitional team. I said that on purpose twice because this is really, really, really serious. Now, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Utah, and North Carolina all stopped the vote. Now, if you'll remember, this is something. If you remember, this happened. They stopped the vote about the same exact time on election night. Then, when the totals tipped, that's the time they tipped, because Trump was ahead by 600,000 votes in Pennsylvania. And when they went back to voting again, or going back to recounting or whatever, he was suddenly 300,000 votes behind Biden. That's impossible. You don't go from 600,000 ahead to 300,000 behind in just a matter of a few hours. And it's strange that all of these states stopped their counting at the same time or within the same time period. That was due to the software that Sidney Powell, the attorney for Trump, is saying. Now, then said there was that was when the vote was flipped. Georgia used the software but didn't stop their count. Now, Georgia, as you well know, is really in the running right now because of the Senate race. And if they lose that Senate race, guess what? We are totally socialist, really run country. That's why this is so important that all this is coming out. Sidney Powell is planning to overturn the election results in multiple states, and President Trump, I'm reading, this is and overlook me, but I read. Smartmatic software is being used by the Dominion voting machines, which are in 2,000 jurisdictions in 30 states. Now that's precincts. In 30 states, there's over 2,000 jurisdictions in 30 states. It's Dominion voting machines, which the Dominion voting machines, and I'm going to get into behind the story of them. Just stay with me. And if you have some comments, I want you to go ahead and make them. But I want to read this. I want you to know what's going on. And it says it's being used by other election machines. Well, if it's being used by other election machines, that means could that software be controlling different elections at different times, at different states, and so on and so forth? Of course it can. That's very obvious. And according to Rudy Giuliani, Startmatic software was especially developed and designed to commit fraud. And the process of the counting, particularly in the Venezuelan dictator Hugo Chavez, that was where the connection to Venezuela is. Now, the company is registered in Delaware, used in Venezuela on the run by the people with, now listen to this, with ties to Maduro and Chavez, and now is apparently being used to ensure a win for Joe Biden. Now, these are not my words. These are the attorneys for Trump. This is what they have found so far. This is what's happened so far. And they are going to take it to court. They're going to get it to court before there's an electoral college. They're going to get it to court to overturn this election. And Smartmatic software has been designed. Oh, excuse me. Let me go on here. I jumped ahead of myself. And here's something that I find kind of strange. It's no wonder that Hillary hid or told Biden to not concede under any circumstances. Does anybody out there remember that? Bob, hey, Bob Froud, I'm glad you could make it. Good evening. How are you? I'm hoping again that we can get more people involved, because I got to tell you something. This is a very hot topic tonight. This just broke this morning. Giuliani said he had something to break yesterday, that the news would be coming out. They weren't going to tell you exactly what it was, but he said it yesterday, that today you would know. Well, today it came out. Came out on Maria Bartiromo's show on Fox News. And now even Lou Dobbs is reporting it with Sidney Powell. He's interviewing Sidney Powell, from my understanding. That was a notice that I got from someone else. I think it was from Lori Coloto. I can't be sure, but I believe that's who it was from. All right, and then let me go on here, because I want you to know what's happening here. When Hillary said to Biden not to give up under any circumstances, if he stays resistant, he'll have the votes to win. Now, it seems like, to me, that seems like an admission to me. Now, in an interview, Biden said he has the largest election fraud organization. Now, is that true? Catherine Kramer, hi, how are you? I'm glad you could make it. And for those of you that are just joining, I'm just explaining about what's happened with this software and the machines that the software was used in Michigan. It was used in Michigan, Pennsylvania. It was used in all the contested states right now, and even in North Carolina, or excuse me, even in Georgia. But Georgia kept on counting; they didn't stop counting. Audrey Wood, hey, how good! I'm glad you could make it. Thank you, Audrey. For any of you that have missed earlier what I said about this, this is a report that came out today. It was on the news. It was on Fox News, on Maria Bartiromo's show. She had both Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. She's pretty much one of the head attorneys for the Trump administration. They said Trump is not going to concede until this is totally settled. They said they're going to take it to court, and they said they are claiming that the election will be overturned because they have the evidence. They're not telling us where or what the evidence is, and they're not going to tell us anything more than the fact that they have the evidence, and that will come out in the courts. This is serious, people. I'm telling you, it's serious. I've got more to tell you. Let me see what Bob's got to say. Bob says, here's the rub, Neil. The courts will throw all the cases that Trump has filled out, and will go to the Supreme Court. Headline is read. John Roberts sees, he does side with the liberals. I'm trying to read this because it's gray against white, and everyone is I'm trying to make this out. The evidence is matters not. This is a takeover. Well, it's a takeover on the Democrat side, Bob. I agree with that, but I'm saying I cannot believe that they would come out online, on TV and on the news, and say that they have the proof and it will have to go to the courts. Now, if it goes to the Supreme Court, which it evidently will, if they overturn just Pennsylvania and Michigan, all of a sudden we got a sudden change. And if Arizona, which is still in the picture, You know, there could be a whole lot of things to turn around. Lori, how are you? I'm glad you could make it. Thank you. Let's see now. Doris says, I shared the video. You shared the video that I posted. Is that I'm sure that's what you meant with the Sidney Powell's interview. And it is this is a very serious thing, people. So if you haven't seen the video, when we're done with the show tonight, I want you to go to my website. I posted it publicly and I posted to my friends and so on and so forth. Go to my site timeline on my website and you can watch that video. I will repost it again. Bob says the corruption in the courts is important, and Joe will be installed. Bob, did you catch the first part where one of the people that they have on the transition team for Joe Biden? Did you see where he is the president of the software company, Smartmatic, and he is that flips it. It's designed to flip. The manual even says so. Says how it can flip the votes. And when they go back to the 600,000 votes that Pennsylvania had for Trump, and then when all the votes stopped in these states at the same time or virtually the same time, suddenly in Pennsylvania, from 600,000 up ahead of Trump, Biden is all of a sudden 300,000 votes ahead of him. That's almost an impossibility to happen within a few hours. Anyway, let me go on because Audrey has said something. Audrey said the Pope acknowledged Biden today. Well, I don't care what the Pope says. I'm sorry for those people that are Catholic. It's not up to anybody but the courts at this point. And I didn't mean that in a way to be rude, Audrey. So don't take it wrong. The Pope, even some of the countries have called Biden and congratulated him, maybe with tongue in cheek. But I'm going to go further because you got to understand that this software that was used and the machines that were used to flip the votes, I'm just telling you what's being reported. You can check it out for yourself. This is not me making up a story for you. This has actually happened. It was controlled through Venezuela, and the vote count was in China, according to what they said. And they said they have proof of this. I don't know where they got the proof, but they've got about 600 attorneys working on this. So look, for all of you that are listening, please share this right now because this is not just for me. It's for you. This is about the election that could be overturned, depending, again, as Bob said, according to the courts, and the courts are many of the courts are in favor of the left, but there's some that are right that like John Roberts. Bob, you're right about that. John, you can't. People thought John Roberts was going to be conservative. I think he's following the law, but I think he's also he's leaning more to the left, more to the Democratic side. That's just my opinion. So I can't. But we've got a case where it's going to probably go to the Supreme Court regardless, with all these states involved and the lawsuits that are involved and the evidence that they say they have. I've got stuff here that I'm going to read to you. I know you don't like to hear me read because of my vision is not to where it should be. Bob says, I've seen tons of evidence of fraud, and I have seen the machine. Evidence will not matter. Okay, Bob, I want you to explain that. Audrey says, no worries. Thanks, Audrey. I'm glad you said that because I didn't really want to insult you or anybody when I said that about the Pope. It's just like, any minister, nobody, even some of the countries that the leaders that have congratulated Biden have kind of done it with tongue in cheek. Anyway, I'm gonna go on, and Bob, I appreciate your comments because this is good. This is kind of like a good debate because this is something that the attorneys are saying they have the evidence, and if they have the evidence, and a judge looks at the evidence, for them to turn it down, you could have an issue running on either side, the right or the left, depending on which how they take it. So far, the right has been angry that Biden has won, and that Fox called Arizona with only 20% of the count in. You know, they had no right to do that. Nobody has the right to call an election before it's even due, or before it even comes in. So the point I'm getting at there, Bob, is that I'm not disagreeing with you, but I might have some come back with some argumentative things that we can debate, which is good because that's what this show's about, is your opinion. And then let's go on. Analyst said that. Wait a minute, let me go. Okay, Smartmatic software was designed to rig elections and shift votes. Now I told you that earlier, but what it does is it flips them. It goes to whether it's a signature vote or whatever. It has a point where if it doesn't recognize it, it doesn't recognize it because it can't see it. It flips the vote to however it's programmed. Because you got to remember, people, software is programmed to do what it's supposed to do. That's not the same as something that has been hacked. Something that's been hacked is where somebody gets into a software program. Like, for instance, there was somebody, I think in Wisconsin, that was able to get into the system and actually watch the voting, real-time voting. And that's what happened with this software and with the Dominion machine. It was real-time voting. I'm going to go on. Analysts and senior U.S. Intelligence officer said that there is a back door, and that's what we're talking about, that allows to be ignored and monitored, or whichever. I say ignored. That's not what I'm trying. That's not what it says here. But it is to be allowed to be monitored, allowing a intervening party on real-time understanding of how many votes will be needed to give an electoral advantage. Now think about what I just said. It allows them to actually see how much is going to be needed for an electoral advantage. According to Sidney Powell, the attorney who is on Trump's legal team, the manual of the Dominion machine tells how votes can be wiped. It may be drag and drop. That's kind of like taking a file and putting something in a file and then deleting that file. That's exactly what it is when they're dragging and dropping it. So that's what happened. They took Trump's votes, according to what the attorneys are saying, and they drugged them, put them in a file, and deleted them. And there's cases where there's cases where thousands of votes came into Milwaukee, for instance, I believe that, or Detroit, whichever, I can't remember. It might have even been Philadelphia, that only had the name Biden on it. No downplay, no download of anybody else. No other Democrats were on it. Just Biden's name, and that's it. And those were brought in after the time limit. After the time limit of deadline of when the vote was taking place. This is breaking news. I'm not the one that's breaking the news. This is news that I'm giving you in case you missed it. And I want to finish this with what Sidney had to say, and then I'm going to go on to the comments that you've made. She said, okay, Texas rejected the use of this software 3 times, being confirmed or being considered, and the system was not safe from fraudulent and unauthorized malfunction. It was, when you win by just thousands, just hundreds of thousands of votes, but by millions of votes that were counted, that were shifted by this software, that was designed expressively for that purpose. That was according to Sidney Powell, the attorney for Trump. That's just part of it. I'm going to get to some of these. Questions or comments because I don't want anybody to think I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. This is important, people. Please share this show. Please share it. Not for me, but because of your comments and for the topic itself. Because all right, Doris says, I have watched the videos and Trump's attorneys are good. Yes, they look, all his attorneys are good. Something I found out that I this week that I was not really, I'm ashamed to admit it. I did not know. I did not know. And if you want to know what this is, it's so I can read, try to read these comments. It's a magnifier because of it brings out that wording a little better. So if I stumble and stutter, just overlook me. You guys are kind of used to me. Anyway, the point is I didn't know that Ted Cruz was a constitutional attorney, and he says there's no way that this election can be decided without it going to court. And then we have to accept what we accept. I mean, that's just all the way it is. Let me read what Bob's got to say. Bob's just posted something a little bit ago. The courts will say that there is no evidence, and will go to the Supreme Court, and John Roberts will side with the liberals, and there will be and he will be president. Mark my words. The fraud is undisputable, and you're right about that, Bob. And it's political. The Chinese have purchased the system with our money. I'll go along with that one. Trump should make the insurrection and seize all ballots and players involved. He should. But don't worry, Joe will be president. It's a done deal. The Great Reset requires Joe. Yeah, it does. It does require Joe. The Great Reset, Bob. I won't disagree with that. The only thing I'm going to disagree with is possibly, I'm not disagreeing with Roberts, because you still have the possibility of a 5-4 decision, if you think about it. If it goes to the Supreme Court, that could possibly, I'm saying possibly, depending on the law of each state and how the lawyers or how the judges look at it. If it goes to the Supreme Court, it could go, depending on that law, because they can't make the law like they did in Pennsylvania, like that one federal judge did in Pennsylvania. He made the law that said they could continue counting ballots that came in after hours or days later or whatever. No, that's not. No, it's the state legislation that makes the law. It's not the federal government, federal judges. So what they're going to do is look at this, and they're going to look at the total law, and they're going to say it's either the election is decided or it's not decided, and they will reverse the decisions on these states that are involved. And you know what states I'm talking about: Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania. I think I might be missing one, but anyway, those are the states that are involved, and that could turn the election totally around. So think about that. All right, let me go on. I get to talking too much here. Sorry about that. All right, now let me see here what Jason had to say. So I think, Bob, I think yours was the last one that I just read. Yes, it does. But Bob, I do agree with you about the big reset. We are going to be have a show about the big reset, so keep that in mind, okay, Bob? All right, Jason Myers. Hey, Jason, I'm glad you could make it. Jason says there's so much evidence. It's really it's really laughable. Trump set it up to trap the media, Democrats, and the Democrats, and to really see how these deep state players, our President Trump planned all of this, so that to blow the lid. I'm kind of paraphrasing here to get through this, Jason. So please forgive me if I say anything different. Please correct me. Trump planned it, and because he had to be done that way. What I guess, are you saying that he kind of planned this whole thing to kind of trap them? Because he did keep saying it was going to be a fraudulent election. But is this what you're referring to, Jason? Anyway, Jason goes on to say it's not enough. It's not enough just to say that that it's corruption is going on, but there's such a it's to show the people the misses the in masses of the corruption and okay, I got it. It does show the corruption among the masses. Let me tell you something that's very concerning to me. If they get away with this, and Bob, I'm referring to you on this one. If they get away with this, I want you to understand one thing, and you do know this. I'm not making you understand anything because you're very smart, Bob. I really appreciate your comments. But I'm going to tell you, if this happens, that the Democrats do get over, and I've said this before on my show, before all of this come about, the Democrat Party is going to be divided because of the AOC squad, along with Bernie Sanders and so on and so forth. And it's already happening. If you've seen the news, you already know that the Democrats are fighting with each other already, because you got the hardcore liberal lefts and the moderates. And the moderates, may do away as much as they can to fight all this. And I'm sorry that I rambled on. Doris says it was Detroit. Okay, I knew it was someplace in Detroit or in this in either Michigan or Wisconsin or someplace where these ballots were only had Biden marked, nobody else. And I got to tell you something. This is something. Dave Frank. Oh, hey Dave, I'm glad you could make it. Sorry you're late. Sorry I'm late. He says, Dave, hey, listen, don't worry about it, Dave. I'm just glad you could make it. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling better, and I hope that you can stick around for a little while. Lori said she shared. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. I appreciate anybody that'll share the show, because I'm going to tell you something. It's not for me. It's for you guys, and it's for the people that might get a chance to see the show and understand what's happened. That there is fraud big time being checked out by the Trump attorneys, and they claim and say that they have the truth. And Sidney Powell today, when asked by Maria Bartolonos, she said, when Maria asked her, said, "What evidence do you have?" And Sidney Powell just laughed, says, "Well, I'm not going to tell that on national news. We're not going to tell what we have for evidence and give it away so that they can use it, to try to discredit. They have proof. They've got pages and pages and pages and all kinds of documents and all kinds of whatever as proof that judges have to look at to decide if it's credible or if it's not credible, if it's possible or if it's not possible." What's very strange is the fact, in my mind, it's very strange that these states suddenly, all of a sudden, almost at the same time that are in question, stopped their counting because of this software allows it and the machine allows it. And then when they started up, all of a sudden, Trump is behind. What took place, people? Think about this. What took place? Let me go on here. Let me see who's Jason. It was 7 Democrats. And I'm sorry that I'm leaning like this, but I've got to make sure because this is on the right side. I've got to make sure I can get this right. It was several Dominion firmware computers, but when Rudy dug deeper, he found out that there were Dominion software computers by a company called Smartmatic. I brought that up earlier, Jason. Smartmatic is the software, and the head of the CEO of the software of Smartmatic is on Biden's transition team. I've got his name here. I can give it to you in a little bit if you want it again. But yes, I did talk about that, Jason. And Smartmatic was processing the votes, data, and the information. Obviously, you did see Rudy Giuliani's interview, Jason, or maybe you read it or something. I don't know. I haven't found it on anywhere because I haven't looked for that. I only looked for Maria Bartolonos and Sidney Powell's interview. That's the one I looked at. Bob Croydon says it It's as though the communists are showing this is showing us shoving this in our faces. Oh, without a doubt. No, nothing they have at all. Let's see, showing up. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. Knowing they have it all. Okay. Sewn up. China will soon. Okay, soon will be the in the driver's seat. Bob, I have to agree with you. And for those of you that are just joining the show, forgive me if you've not seen the show before. That I do a lot of reading. I'm reading against a gray print against a white background, so it is very difficult. And when I'm reading my papers, I have an eye problem, but that's not what's happening. I just want you to know, bear with me. I try to take my time to read and make sure that I get words right, because it is a gray against a white background, which is very, very hard to read sometimes. And Bob, what you said about China is very true, because as I've told you before, and you're aware of, I know you are, is the fact that I have said on my website, I have left information about China on there, and not anything about the election, because I want people to realize how much threat China is to the United States. It is a big threat. Okay, now let me go on. Bob says judges use subjective representative of the evidence. Corrupt judges protect their usual their oh yeah their friends. Well, actually they do. They absolutely do. And this is what happened in Pennsylvania. If you think about it, the judge made their own laws for whoever they were in Philadelphia, who they were, instead of the city or state county legislation. That's what it all boils down to, is the state legislatures make the rules, not the judges. The voting and the news is not reporting this. News is not letting you know. News is not letting you know the real truth. I watched Newsmax, and I've watched One America Now, or One America News. I don't know if you can get One America News. They have set out now. They're going to tell you the truth, and they play clips from other stations. Newsmax has been doing the same thing. They're stealing people away from Fox. But I'm going to tell you something. With Maria Bartiromo's interview this morning, that was for real. And when Rudy Giuliani said yesterday, we are going to break some news Sunday. He did. They did break the news. They are definitely into the fraud thing that they have got. They say they've got enough evidence right now, but they're just getting more. And the more they get, the more they will. These lawyers know more than I do. And unless you're a lawyer, they probably know more than any of us. But the point is, we can speculate anything we want to speculate. The bottom line is, it's going to be up to the courts. The bottom line is going to be up to what the attorneys have. They're not going to. Now, there was one group of attorneys that dropped one suit against Arizona because there was not enough proof. They did not quit like the news made it look like, that they just gave up on Trump in Arizona. That did not happen. That's a lie. They are still working in Arizona to make sure that Maricopa County does vote and get their vote counted. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. I want to go back up if I can. Okay, I did. Okay, so Audrey says, you have tried resetting the print. I could, something, I could do that, Audrey, on but like I can see your name very well, and I can see Bob's name because it's in dark print on where I'm at on the website that I use for this StreamYard, excuse me. But their print themselves, like when you are typing something, comes in very light. Bob says the Chinese have everything on Hunter Biden's computers, and he is completely compromised. Let me ask you something, Bob, on that one, because I think that this thing with Bob, if Barr is smart, if he would have anything going upstairs, and I hasten to say it too rudely, but they would get this thing started and rolling before Trump leaves office if Trump is not officially made the president. If it sticks with Biden, it'll disappear. That Hunter Biden thing will go away, and so will the Joe Biden thing go away, because he was as much involved with his son's thing going on with China. Let me see. Doris said we set all the judges and took an oath and uphold the law. Well, yeah. The thing of it is, that's just like any politician, Doris. They swear to take an oath to uphold the law and the Constitution. The Constitution is what they promised to uphold. How many politicians have truly held up the Constitution as they have promised? How many have tried to overturn it? How many have tried to overwrite it? How many have tried? Look at how many amendments they put in it. Look how they interpret it. So, that you're right about that they take an oath, but that doesn't mean anything. Doctors take an oath too, but it doesn't always work that way. And I hope that, okay, Bob says no amount of evidence will change this. Barr is deep state. Well, he might be. I don't know, but I think in my opinion, Trump should have fired him. But that's just my opinion. I want to let you know. That the fact that the Smartmatic is something that's very, very. You want to look into it. The Smartmatic software that was used in these Dominion machines, because this is what flipped the election, according to Trump's attorneys. This is what they say they can overturn because of the fact that according to what they say the Constitution says, is that the election is over at a certain time on the election day. If there's any changes, it can only be done by a legislative body of the state. It cannot be a judge. It cannot be a precinct president, or whatever the case be. How many of you saw? I mean, how much evidence does anybody need that saw people being pushed away, pushed out of these voting places, and said, you can come in, but you got to wear binoculars? No, there's supposed to be a Republican and a Democrat, and on each side looking at what's going on with the counting of the votes, of the way the ballots are read, the way everything's going on. I'm mainly talking about probably the hand picked. Now, as far as the flipping of the machines, that's software, and if they've got proof, and if they can prove, look, if it comes from Venezuela, and look at the trouble Venezuela's in. If we used this software for our election in these states, they paid. If you look at the videos that are the interviews, you'll see where people were paid. State officials were paid to use this software in these machines. Don't take my word. Please do the research, because I'm telling you, this is not good for any future election, if there is one. And I say that because if Biden and Harris get in, one or two things is going to happen. It's going to depend on whether there's a Democrat Senate or Republican Senate. And if it's a tie, it'll end up being a Democrat, because Vice President Harris would make the deciding vote. Where do we go from there? We may never have another election unless the Democrat Party becomes so divided, that the more centralist Democrats, moderate Democrats, whatever you want to call them, look and side in with the right or the Republicans as far as making passage of laws and so on and so forth. Anyway, let me go on. Bob says, newsflash. I want to make sure I got this right. Oh, yeah, okay. Oaths mean nothing, uh, uh, without action. Well, see, that goes back to lawyers, or not lawyers, but doctors. And, doctors take an oath also, but that doesn't mean that they're going to follow it. There's how many doctors are giving out opioids, just hand and right, left and right. That's not following the Hippocratic oath. So, Bob, you're right about that. Taking an oath, and Doris, that's not anything against what you said, because yes, they do take an oath. They all put their hand on the Bible and they raise their hand, their right hand or left hand or whichever hand that they happen to use, whatever the case might be, and they take this oath. I solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution to the best of my knowledge, and so on and so forth. And that's what happens. So I want you to think about something. I could go into this software more if you really want to know, because he says that the whole thing goes on about how corrupt this software is and what it's designed to do. Let me go on here and see what Doris says. Michigan didn't let them in and put cardboard up on the windows. Yes, they did. And there was other states that didn't let them in. Nevada was another one. And they're going to fight for Nevada. They're going to try to overturn Nevada. And I want to tell you something. If you can get One America Now and Newsmax, I think it is, they still do not have Biden as the winner. They show it right on their screen. They still don't have it. I don't remember if it's Newsmax or One America News. But if you can get them, watch them and see what they say. Newsmax especially is taking a lot of Fox viewers. There's no doubt about it. Because Fox has kind of turned their back, and I think that's the Murdoch boys, but I won't swear to it. Anyway, I want to say a little bit about that. About the software, because Rudy Giuliani of New York, hinted that Smartmatic vote counting machines being used in the Philippines and recently in the United States as vulnerable and poll fraud. In an interview with Fox News Channel, again, this is going back to what I said earlier, Giuliani, in his capacity as mayor of the re-election U.S. President Donald Trump, claimed that the Smartmatic vote counting machines are hackable. And he says that he hinted that the Dominion automated vote counting system that was used during the most recent presidential election was owned by, again, a Smartmatic through an intermediary company referred to as Endura. Excuse me. Now, go back and find out that this is owned by he's the CEO and president of Smartmatic. He is on Biden's transition team. There's something strange about that. Really strange. I don't care what anybody thinks or says. For the CEO or president of the software that was used in these particular states, especially that are being contested, and the machines that are being contested. The machines, by the way, I got to tell you, it goes back to, you can do your own research, but it goes back to George Soros. It goes back to George Soros. Think about that. You all know about George Soros, so I'm sorry to tell you, the machines go back to George Soros. The software is tied into one of Biden's transition team, And I wouldn't be surprised if Hillary Clinton doesn't have her fingers into that as well, because she has never given up the fact that she lost the election to Donald Trump. The Democrats have never gotten over the fact that they lost to Donald Trump. I mean, crying out loud, look how long and how much money was spent to use this time, all this time, especially to try to impeach him. And that turned out to be a farce. They tried to tie him into to Russia. That was wrong. You know, they didn't stop. They haven't stopped. And when Biden said they had the biggest fraud setup available or whatever, now I don't know if he was referring to their campaign or if they were talking about thinking, trying to make people think it would be Trump. I don't know. I really honestly don't know. You need to look these things up and see if you can find the actual interviews, and you can decide. This is how serious this is. I'm not going to read you everything about this, but I'm going to tell you right now, Giuliani is not giving up, and neither is Sidney Powell. She is not giving up. She's not going to give up at all. And as far as George Soros, I'm going to tell you something. He is in with the Dominican machines, and I'm telling you, they funded. Now get this: the Dominion machines funded Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Now these are the machines that are in question, along with the software that's in question that they're talking about. Let me go back here. Doris says, I watched Newsmax all the time. It's a good show. I mean, it's a good show. Listen, it's a good news station. I have actually One America News on my website. It's not the video or not the TV, but I have their page where you can look their news up. It's on my website, AmericanTruthFinders.com. And if you just click on news, or if you actually look at the menu, and you'll see One America News. All right, let me go on. Bob says Joe could murder children in the White House, and let me make sure I get this right. Oh, on the White House lawn, and would still be president. The American people have no voice. I'm afraid to say this, but I'm not afraid. I happen to agree with you on that one, Bob. It's all a sham. Bob says they'll give up when the Supreme Court it looks like it says it's the big guy, Joe. What you're really saying, I think, is you're saying that when they actually confirm that Joe Biden is the president, this lawsuit that they're doing right now is serious, people. It's very serious. It's very important. It's the future of our country. Now, when I said on my video that I had some big news, I was not lying. And you don't have to believe anything I'm telling you at all. I don't want you to. I want you to do your own research. Research Smartmatic. Research and look for the interview with Maria Bartiromo and Sidney Powell. I want you to research Giuliani's interview. I wish I had the transcript, because I'm going to tell you, it probably is online somewhere now, but it depends, because Google, of course, is really not conservative friendly. And when I say conservative, I'm even talking about the moderate Democrats, because there's a lot of moderate centralists or Democrats that they don't go along with this. They're not going along with all this corrupt garbage. They're not, look, they want Trump to concede. And who was it? Don Kerry, that didn't concede until the middle of December, when he lost to who was it? Bush at that time. Point I'm getting at: Trump has all this time still as president? Why should he concede until this is settled? If there is proof and there's enough evidence by people that have come forth, I'm talking about people that have signed and done affidavits that they could be held in contempt if they lied, that have said, we know this is happening, and this is somebody that even worked for with the Dominion machines, admitted and said they only had Joe Biden's name on stacks and stacks and boxes of ballots that came in late. That says to me, and I think it should say to you, if Joe Biden's name is the only one, that's not a straight ticket, number one, so by saying, well, I'm voting for just the president. All these people just only voted for the president. Nobody else. They didn't vote for a senator. They didn't vote for a congressman. They didn't vote for anybody. Nobody in their county. Nobody nowhere. Only the president. I'm not buying that. That's, to me, that's trying to blow smoke. You know, so don't, you know, when he said, I saw this in person, he signed, and he did sign an affidavit. They've got stacks of signatures of people that said it has happened. It was, I even heard that there has been nursing homes suddenly, all of a sudden, at the same time, thousands of nursing home people at the same time, all voted at the same time, because that's how the machines read them, at the same time. That's how the votes were flipped, at the same time. If that doesn't make you question, if that doesn't make you want to look, if that doesn't make you want to think about something, I don't know what else. I really don't. There is, you know, and Bob, you might be right. It may turn out that there's going to turn out to be nothing, because the Supreme Court's going to say, you know, we don't want, we're going to wash our hands of it. We don't want any part of it. It's between you and the states. And a lot of these states have federal judges that lean to the left. So I'm very, very, and who I don't know if Doris is still with us or not, but Doris, the young black man that was running for the senator, and he was way ahead. All of a sudden, he lost. Was it Tom Johnson? Is that his name? I'm sorry. I apologize if I don't remember that. But that was in Michigan, and this he was a smart man. You could tell. I saw his interviews. He was very, very, very much concerned about this country. And this is why these elections have to be. Look, Elizabeth Warren is one of them, and I can't remember the other two. Democrats have said, be in the past. This software and these machines are dangerous for elections. So, you know, look, this is something that, even if they admit it, they must know something. Somebody has gotten in there somehow and tipped some people off to, hey, this is what you need. Somebody got paid off. This is if you use this software, this is what you need. John James, thank you. Doris, I appreciate that. This young man was a star, you know, and anyway, Bob says that Trump will concede when the Supreme Court, you know, what does that say? Crowns Trump, Joe. Well, you know, he might. He will have to. If the Supreme Court gives it to Joe Biden, he'll have to concede. There's no doubt about that. I can't argue that, Joe. I can't. Bob, excuse me. But here's the thing. There's also talk that Trump's not going away, that in 4 years he'll run again if we have an election. And I say if, because I don't know what's going to happen with our country with this. If Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are running the country along with AOC, she rose to the top so fast it's unreal. I warned you people about her and the squad a long time ago. And if you look, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm telling you right now, that's a dangerous outfit. That's a very dangerous group. And Kamala Harris is part of them. And it goes back to the Working Family Party that is supported and is Is it infiltrated by the U.S. communistic, the United States Communist Party of the United States, whatever you want to call them? They got infiltrated, and that goes back to who supported Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, the Working Family Party. And I told you a long time ago, they've already got people in government, in local, state, federal, county, whatever you want to call them, under the Democrat name, the Communist Party of the United States has infiltrated, and they have gotten into our government. Let me go on here. Bob says you don't have to worry about the Chinese. Already gave already bought it. Let's see, something like, Neil, I'm sorry, I think this was it. Fauci designed and then funded the virus that is killing killing our economy, and he walks free. You know something, Bob? I read something today that really disturbed me about that, and you're right. Fauci is part of this underground, what I would call an underground, almost like an underground mafia. They deliberately, he was part of that. He was part of, is it Moderna? Was he president of Moderna? Forgive me for not having that on the, in my hands, but that I didn't think about that. That may be brought up tonight. But yes, he has been involved. Of course, Facebook says that's false. So there again, Facebook police. I want you to understand something. What I'm reading you is what was on TV today. So don't blame me for repeating what reading what I saw on TV, and don't blame these people that are commenting, because I'm going to tell you something. This concerns all of you. This concerns everybody. The media itself has become, and I heard this today on, I think it was One America News. The media is the media, other than like One America and Newsmax, and maybe there might be some others, but they only name those two, or they only name themselves, but I'm thinking of those two, that the media is the Democrat Party. And if you think about it, MSNBC, CBS, CNN, ABC, any of those networks, and now even Fox has become, in many cases, part of the Democratic Party. This is almost like communist China has. Government-controlled TV, government-controlled news, government-controlled radio. Look, they might show you a nice, pretty picture about how China is, but look, if you ever go inside and really see the real truth, I've never been there, but from what other people have said and other people have seen and what people have shown, the things you read, it's not the China. It's not the China that's really exists. They only show you the pretty parts. They only show you the rich people, and they only show you the people that can walk around freely. They're not showing you the real people that are the billions. They don't have millions of population. They're in the billion population. China is ready. That's why when Bob brought that up about Fauci and the coronavirus, why do you think it was developed? To me, it was not something just happened. It was a developed, Bob. You're right. And Fauci, I believe, was part of it, and I can see why Trump is very disgusted with Fauci right now. And if you disagree with me, I understand, people. If you agree with me, that's fine. And Bob's busy writing. I'm glad he's on here tonight. He's busy, really, really busy writing. It's not just that the election is corrupt, system is corrupt. It's our entire government is corrupt. Trying to turn human garbage. Anyone serving in the system is subject to prosecution within when the system comes down. But see, that's the thing I was getting at about if Hunter Biden if this was to be started now, before the election is decided, and if it goes into Joe Biden's favor and Harris's favor, will they continue with the Biden Hunter Biden investigation? No, they'll shove it under the carpet. That's why we need a Senate that will do the investigation, that will be honest with the American people. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the American people, you see what's happening to our country. You saw what happened to Venezuela, 20 years ago or thereabouts. Venezuela was wealthy. It was a beautiful country. People went there to vacation. It was really great. Now people are escaping that country to come here or to anywhere else they can get to because it's so corrupt. And look at what I'm talking about tonight. Look at what we are talking about tonight. Not just me, but we. If you saw the video, the interview with just even Sydney, I'm not talking about with I'm so tongue-tied because I'm so upset about this. I'm not talking about Rudy Giuliani, his interview, because Rudy Giuliani gave a very good interview also, and he said, we're not giving up. We're not giving up. And if this country loses, if we lose, I'm telling you, when I say we lose, we may not have another election. Do you understand? I know you understand. You guys are all adults. You're all very well informed, very well knowledged. You're very well understood of what's going on. This information today came out. This was not something that was made up. This came out today by two lawyers that represent President Donald Trump and the Trump administration. They would not come out if they didn't have something. They wouldn't put themselves in that situation if they did not have something that they figure will go to court and that they can overturn this election. Whether it will be overturned or not, again, going back to what Bob said, I don't know. I really don't know. Let me see. Bob says the Biden stuff will disappear when the with the system file. Yeah, you got that right. Bob went on to say Trump, and I'm sure you're thinking about Trump's system file going to disappear too, Bob. Go Biden, or no, is that or no, or Biden? Yeah, I'm sorry, you didn't say go Biden. Bob says that the nation is now lost, Neil. It's not coming back. You know, that breaks my heart, Bob, not because you said that, but because I have said it and I've thought it myself. I only pray, and I'm going to cut this short tonight because I think we've covered quite a bit short time until we hear more about this election. I just want to say this: please share the video. Not for me. I've got enough popularity, if you want to call it that. A lot of it's not likable, but it is what it is. But do me a favor and share this video. But Bob, you said something that really, really, really hits home because I have thought this, I've said this, and I'm going to repeat it. If this country doesn't recover, if this election goes the way it's going right now, if the corrupt system takes over our country, we will become another Venezuela. The big reset will hit so hard. And when Donald Trump has stopped the big reset at this point because he hasn't joined in on it. And we're going to discuss that. We're going to have a show about the big reset so you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But the only thing we can do at this point in time now is to pray for our country. And I really mean that. Pray for this country. Pray for the president that we have right now. And if Biden and Harris get in, pray for the president that he does not get pulled to the left with the AOC group or Bernie Harris or George Soros or anybody else. That's all you can do is pray. Because God's in control. We aren't. And I maybe you won't agree with me. Some of you won't agree with that, but I mean that's my own belief. Let me see now. Let's see. Bob said, you got that. It's not coming back. Doris says, thank you. I think you missed mine. Uh, it, his name was John James from Michigan. Yeah, no, I did catch that.Maybe you just didn't hear me. John, I did get that message, Doris, and I apologize if you didn't hear me because I thanked you even for putting it because I'm the one that said the wrong name at first. I think I called him Tom Jones or something. I don't remember. But anyway, well, we got to laugh sometimes about things. Bob says, pray for our nation. God's judgment is here. Show us your way in Jesus' name. Thank you, Bob. And amen to that. Audrey, let me see. Oh, Bible is very clear. It says to pray for our leaders. Yes, it does, Audrey. And that's why I'm saying, even if Joe Biden does get in office, God's in control. But we are the ones that are supposed to pray and pray that they will do the right thing, that the president that leads this country will do the right thing. And if it's a situation that we get into where we become a socialist type of country, all we can do is pray that somehow we get out of it because you're not going to like what you see. Right now, I'm going to tell you, if Biden and Harris get in, you're going to get less money if you are working. You're going to get higher taxes. You're going to lose freedom of speech. Freedom of religion is already going away. If you look at California and New York, the right to gather is going to go away in a very different, slowly way. I mean, not everything's going to happen overnight. Nothing's going to happen overnight. They are going to come after your Second Amendment right to own a gun. This is where people are saying, "Hey, let them come and try and get it from me." They will do it. Trust me. If you own any kind of arm, handgun, whatever, you're going to lose that because they're going to come and take it. That's what the goal is with Kamala Harris. Not so much Joe Biden, I don't think. Joe Biden basically is not as liberal, but he's being pulled left to where he's going to be liberal if we don't pray for him. And I say that because we have to think of what's really going to happen to the United States of America. So until next time, I think we'll do a show hopefully on Thursday. I won't promise you, but I will notify you. I definitely will notify you and let you know what our topic is. We may talk again because we may know more about the election. We may know more about the lawsuits. So keep it in mind that Thursday, and again, please try to share this. People need to know what was said today because I think a lot of people missed out on those two interviews. And it's very important. They're both very important because something's happening with the attorneys and Trump's team that they think they have something that they can really go after and fight and overturn this election. I don't know if they can or not. Bob may be right that the Supreme Court may just bow down and give Biden the win. I don't know. Biden and Harris. The thing we have to think about right now is we've got Donald Trump as president until this is all done. He is president until this is all done. We must, keep him in mind as well. Pray for him as well. Doris says the government is starting down. It's shutting down again. I'm sorry. And Michigan is already the governor's already given you guys a 3 week mandate that you're going to be pretty much locked down again. I just read that, Doris. I'm sure you read it also, or you heard about it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, keep Thursday in mind. I'll let you know ahead of time, or it may be last minute. But if there's still something going on with this election, if we don't do a show Thursday, we will do a show next Tuesday or next Sunday. Excuse me. I want to thank all of you for being a part. If I don't thank you personally, please don't be offended. I try to thank you personally if I can, but sometimes I miss somebody. I want to thank everybody, and I will thank you when I post the video. I will thank all of you for taking part and being part of our the show and give me your comments. You've been wonderful. You've been great, and thank all of you for being supportive of me and the show. I'm just the moderator. You are the show. In the meantime, pray for our country. God bless you. God bless America. Good night, everyone.